Building on Block Island is not your average job. There's weather to contend with, timelines around seasonalities, and the trick of getting every last nail across the water to the job site. On this episode, we're going to dive into what it really takes to get the job done on the island.
Arnold Lumber has been a partner of New England builders and homeowners for over 100 years. Our goal is to elevate projects to their highest potential through top quality product solutions and above and beyond service on all projects from start to finish. Now, we're teaming up with industry leaders and the area's best builders to give you insights on the latest material technologies, best practices, and unique projects. This is Breaking Ground.
Hey folks, Tom with Arnold Lumber here with another episode of Breaking Ground. In this episode, we're on beautiful Block Island, where we're going to take you to a couple of job sites and talk to some of the people who work on the island and live on the island, and tell you what it takes to get the job done, from the special materials they need to handle the harsh environment and the nuances of getting work done on the island, getting materials to the island, and how it all shapes up. Let's check it out.
Before any construction work can even begin on the island, you need to get the right materials out there. That's where the Arnold Lumber team comes into play. You've got Denise, our inside sales rep, who handles communication, orders, quotes, making reservations for the ferry, and general delivery coordination. You've also got Adam, the driver, who makes virtually all the deliveries to the island. He knows where you want it and how you want it. If you need to come back, turn around and come back. And of course you have Ray, our outside sales rep, who has the pulse on all things Block Island. He's got boots on the ground to make sure all of the customers on the island have everything they need, not just from a remote telephone call or text, but physically on the island every week. Tell us, share a little bit about what you have to do to help support the team to get stuff to Block Island.
So the biggest problem, or the biggest challenge, I should say,
it
with
can be
Block
a problem,
Island
that's all right,
is coordinating the reservations on the freight dock for the ferry, because they get so overbooked that getting our truck, we book at the beginning of the year for the entire year. So when we need an additional reservation, that gets a little challenging sometimes.
What happens, I imagine there must be some times where the boat can't go.
Oh, when the boat doesn't sail because of weather, high winds, that is another challenge altogether, because now we have to move everything. So people that were expecting stuff tomorrow now get it next week because we have to rearrange everything. It's kind of like, well, we already had these commitments, so they're going first.
Now
so
we got to make it up.
Right.
So the truck gets on the ferry.
Yes.
Our delivery truck goes right on the boat.
We go over a minimum of 3 times a week when the weather is good.
3 times a week?
3 times a week.
And is that just, we load up a truck and we drive it to the ferry and go?
We drive it to the ferry, they load it on, and when he gets on this side of the island, he goes and does his deliveries all over the island, and then gets back on the ferry.
You're the guy that makes sure all the product gets here. How often you come out?
3 times a week, sometimes 4.
And the truck, you're driving a truck from the West Kingston yard all the way right onto the boat 3 times a week?
Yep.
Do you load it yourself, or is
I do, yeah.
You load it yourself?
I load everything myself, yeah. It's easier for me to unload. I keep the stops together, things like that.
How is it working with the customers on the island?
Working with them is no different than working with like co-workers in the yard, you know? They all become kind of like your co-workers,
right?
You know what I mean?
And if you're seeing them that often, they know you by name, they can tell when you're coming.
Yeah, they'll text me on my birthday, they'll do all, you know. They're good, they're very good.
Yeah, from renovations to new stuff, you would think it's Block Island. It's a small island in a small state. How can you have 3 trucks going out every single week?
There's a large demand, there's a lot going on, and you know, the guys need the attention, the service, no different than if it was the mainland, as best as you can to make it seamless.
There's a lot of builders on the mainland, and they're all doing their work. When you come out onto the island, it's almost like an all-star team of builders, because they all have to do great high-end, top-of-the-line homes, and they got to have wind load, they got to have corrosion protection, all this special technique out here. It's like,
and I will say the greatest thing about building out here, between all the builders, we all help each other out.
yeah,
Like if somebody needs something and they don't have it, they call me, Josh, any of the other great builders. It's like, hey, or text, like, do you have this? And we're like, we share a lot.
The island is old school. This is a village. Everyone pulls together, helps each other out, and there's a lot of dependency from one to the next to the next. So you build strong relationships, but you also have to put some things aside to make things work with everyone out here. Yeah, limited resources, limited time.
From excavation, foundations, like right through to, plasters, painters.
you
Like,
count on each other.
yeah, landscapers,
Yeah.
like everything.
Now that you know the team that brings everything together on Block Island, let's take a look at a couple unique projects out here.
So we're at is it officially called the Block Island Medical Center?
It is.
Tell us a little bit about what we're looking at and how Arnold Lumber participated in providing materials for this job.
It was a combined effort of both renovation and new construction. We did some additions on the backside that we'll get to later, and on the front facade, replaced the windows, replaced the exterior doors, roofing, exterior trim, and the sidewalls. Sidewalls, white cedar. The exterior trim they used was AZIC. Owens Corning Desert Tan is the color for the roofing.
And was this what we see, this building and that all here? Or
It
is that-
was.
All right, so this is the original structure as we see it.
It is.
With these upgrades. Considering it's the island, is there anything particular to Block Island that kind of is either a requirement or a strong recommendation?
Well, you'll notice that the building in general is more fitting to like a residential neighborhood. It's not commercial, it's not industrious.
It's actually pretty. It has
It is.
beautiful architectural elements to it. When we talk about the roof, getting back to it, so this is a harsh environment here in New England, especially here on the island. These Owens Corning shingles, they have any type of warranty to them that we're aware of?
So limited lifetime warranty. And the nice thing about the product, as you mentioned, the harsh environment, and as you can see today, there's always a breeze. Cooler temperatures and whatnot. You want to make sure that the shingles seal as soon as possible. Owens Corning is known for having a low temp rate to get that sealing in effect. We've had great success with their product out here. You'll notice that on the ridge, most of the buildings out here don't employ any form of ridge vent, again, because of the environment. The winds would end up ruining
So
that.
because of that seal, do you need to wait for warm weather to put the shingles on? Or if I'm in November, December, can I still put them up?
No, November, December is still fine. What they'll end up doing a lot of times is the installers will put an additional tab down, a sealant down, to aid with that. But again, temperature-wise, they seat down, and we haven't had any issues. Yeah, they set up really nice.
All right, let's take a look around the rest of the building. All right, so on the backside, what are we looking at here? That's
So on the
interesting to
backside,
note.
this portion here was added to house an elevator shaft. The porch is all new. This
Okay.
bump out is new.
So to the inset there, that's where the old building was. That's the wall, exterior wall of the old building.
That's correct.
And this bump out.
Yep.
So there's an elevator shaft in there?
There is, just to the right of the windows. And that ends up bringing you from the basement level all the way up. Again, part of the renovation work was to be able to house dentistry on the island. So they put in a combination of rooms, offices down below. The wing behind you is completely new. It was to help house some of the new systems that they put in, incorporate another stairwell that brings you in down to the lower level as well. And the porch to the rear is also new. Keeping with the theme of the residential look, you'll notice that they put shutters on faux windows facing the street.
Oh,
which
so
is
there's
also-
no windows behind those shutters.
That's correct.
Great.
But it was a cost-effective way to give you the look and the charm, and also kind of evens out the balances along with the shower that they
I mean,
incorporated.
it just looks like somebody's beach house, especially with the shower.
Absolutely.
Even if that shower didn't work, the decorative nature of it makes it look authentic.
It does.
Oh, that's a smart move.
The residents come in, utilize the facility while they're out here.
So in the off-season, there must be residents on the island that require...
Periodically, less during the winter months for a couple of reasons. I think the way that the training takes place, as well as the need out here as well. I don't know that the numbers are still this way today, but plus or minus, there's about 900 residents on the island. And come the middle of summer, they can have up to 20,000.
Gotcha. Okay, so they need to amp up
some
their
assistance.
staffing when tourist season is on. I'd like to get a look at how this deck finished up on back. Again, this is for staff. So for the staff to have a nice spot to come out and have a seat and relax after working all day, especially with this view, is a nice touch. But again, we're looking at stylistically residential construction. This is a residence, but it being essentially considered multi-family almost, because it's a duplex technically, right?
Technically, yes.
Common kitchen with 2 separate quarters off of it.
Correct.
And who would utilize this typically?
So on this end here, actually, you have the resident doctor that utilizes this end, and on the other side, you'd end up having medical staff, assistants, and so forth.
Okay, got it. Well, it's a nice setup. If I was working at the hospital, I would not mind at all having to come out and camp here on my time off. Back here at the new Spring House. What is the official name of this?
Spring House, New Harbor.
Got it, okay. Last time we were here was really in the rough. It looks like they're just about ready to open. They got some little bit of work to do, but man, it looks beautiful. Tell us a little bit about what we're looking at on this side of the building here today.
AZEK trim is surrounding the building, including the archway here. Up above, you've got some 5-pound corbels that are accenting the gable end there. You know, as we talked yesterday, instead of a commercialized looking building, something a little more fitting to the
stylized.
to the island. Yes.
The attention to detail is really, they're being very mindful of the island and the character.
Certainly.
It really looks great. And this, the AZEK, that beautiful arch, so they just take AZEK sheet stock when they do something that big, or is that done just out of board length?
No, you're correct. They take that out of sheet product. That way there they can cut that radius, get that in there seamlessly.
There's a mix of different windows and doors here on the exterior. Why the decision to go with these Anderson doors?
So a combination of things, being a commercial building, but also still keeping to the theme of not commercializing the building, so to speak.
Yeah. And those are the same as you would put on your custom residential home.
Correct.
It's not a commercial door per se.
That's correct. Not a commercial door per se, and one of the differences out here as opposed to the majority of the mainland would be the fact that because of the high wind zones, we have to have a higher wind rating on those doors.
Got it, that makes sense. So they really do add some character to those sliders and make it look nice. So this is it. This is the ocean view room right here. So these Anderson sliders, which just opening them, you can tell how hardy they are because we're right at the ocean. I mean, these doors are going to take a beating. Man, is it worth the view here. This little walk out onto this deck in the morning, cup of coffee, get a look out. It's a nice spot. And this is our TimberTech decking on the floor?
That's correct, the slate gray.
Now, this really is the room to get, boy, I tell you what. This second floor, common area, very nice.
You can see where we continued the board and batten theme and then shifted to a nickel gap on the feature wall.
Oh yeah, I love that nickel gap. That looks great. Be nice to have the cozy fire going. I like this walkout too onto the common deck. All right, check out this common area deck. Very nice. Still got the plastic on the cushions, so you can tell they're almost ready to roll.
For certain.
Beautiful stonework, trim. It's nice out here. So the inn looks great. Looks like they're going to be able to open up in time for the rush of guests coming in for vacation season. And even this beautiful building.
With the amount of hospitality that they provide out here, you've got to have the staff to be able to support that. And housing in general is tough to come by. So They find themselves in a position where they're housing their staff.
So the staff gets to live on the island?
They do. Traditionally not year-round. The island, it's a seasonal tourist attraction. So during the season itself, you have an influx of people, both workers, visitors, and so forth. And then at the end of the season, they go home, and a lot of them actually return for the following season, the upcoming season.
What a nice summer job to come live on the island in a beautiful building like this. Ray, man, thanks for showing us around. The inn's looking real good. What a nice spot to come out and visit.
Today we got a chance to speak with a Massachusetts builder who stepped up to the unique challenges of work on the Block Island Medical Center.
I'm the owner of True North Construction. We're a Boston-based general contractor and construction manager, specialize in industrial, healthcare, educational, and commercial projects across Boston and New England.
What is a company out of Massachusetts doing business on Block Island? And how do you end up getting on Block Island to do work? I imagine it's not a simple process for you.
It's not a simple process. It was a complicated job. We have the experience in healthcare. We had a team that was dedicated to the challenges of working on the island. A medical building is a very unique style of construction. You have to, especially when it's occupied, there are many special electrical systems, medical gas systems, plumbing systems. The Block Island Medical Center was open throughout the entire construction process.
Oh, it was?
Seeing patients every day. So there were days where literally we were working in one room and there were patients in the next room.
Wow.
They added ADA accessibility to all 3 levels. They basically doubled the footprint of the facility.
Anything specific to Block Island and what they needed to have different from what a typical cookie cutter commercial building would be?
I would say the logistics surrounding the ferry. The state and town only inspects once a week out there. So if you miss a week of inspections, or you miss that one day of inspections in the winter when the boat's not running, then you lose an entire week
You're
of
on
work.
pause.
Yeah, exactly. And if you're short on specific materials, which thankfully, we had a great partnership with Arnold Lumber throughout the project, and you always have to kind of over purchase and overbuy and over anticipate, and because if you run short on anything, getting it is not an option. It was a very challenging project, but a great project for our team, and I think a great project for the island as well.
Well, that does it for this episode of Breaking Ground. Special thanks to all of our contractors out here on the island who have supported Arnold Lumber over the years and allowed us to be part of making this Block Island the beautiful community that it is. Also, thanks to Anderson Windows for their support of this program. If you like what you saw, please like, share, tell your friends about Breaking Ground. And until next time, I'm Tom with Arnold Lumber. Thanks for watching.